punishing. And like, fucking, they don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
And then they get to 50 and they're just
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah, because I was the same through my 20s, you know, like through my 20s because I was always athletic growing up in my teens, and then I went to uni, everything just went to shit.
Yeah.
I was drinking all the time, I was eating whatever I wanted,
Yeah.
but I could get away with it. I never got fat, you know. So you know, because your body's not giving you that instant feedback that you're doing something wrong to it.
Yeah.
You know, you just carry on. You think you can get away
fine.
with it.
Yeah.
Then you get to your wait for it, you get to your late 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and I was like, I was never big. Genetically, I don't think I could ever be that big, but like, I'll have to dig out a photo. Like, I was, you know, like skinny fat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just felt like shit. I had no energy.
Well, the fat goes to your organs. Or...
Yeah. Like here, which is particularly bad for guys with your waist to hip ratio. Was no good. I just felt like shit. Like I was always used to just naturally having abs and stuff like that. And then I remember taking a photo one day at the beach, and I was like, fuck, gotta do something, and that spit it back in.
Well, that kicks me off to the first question because it's the second one, but I'm going to go first. Yeah. Because we noticed that in your bio you played national level. Yeah. Football. Yeah. Or soccer. Soccer we call it. Soccer, everyone knows here.
I've got used to calling it soccer now.
Yeah. So how did that, walk us through that? Tell us, I'm really interested to learn a bit more about that. Who you were playing for, how you got into it, how long you were doing it, and then that's mentally, you've got to be mentally strong to be playing at that level, right? Yeah. So look, I mean, obviously growing up in the UK, we're born with football. It's always there. Yeah. To playing on the streets until it was too dark to see every night. And I was a goalkeeper. I played in goal for City Boys. So came up through the school system and then started playing for a club, and then you get scouted for City Boys, go through trials. So I played for them for a couple of seasons, and you do learn a lot. Obviously, playing in a team, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about pressure, teamwork, and everything else. So it's really fun. How long were you doing that for?
Well, I played soccer my whole youth, but I played for City Boys for a couple of seasons. Yeah. Hard work. Really hard work. Yeah.
Do you think that's what was kind of a catalyst for you to kick into, I know that it was kind of later on in life, but kicking back into health, fitness and that kind of regime?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was always naturally sporty. I was really lucky because my mum was, she ran internationally. Yeah. She ran for English schools, so she was a really good sprinter, really good athlete. Yeah. And I was more into, and I was probably better at athletics than I was football, but I was just naturally good at all sports. I was really lucky. But athletics was my key one. I loved sprinting and I loved jumping. Like I held the county record for triple jump. And I competed on a national level, and I won the county athlete of the year one year as well, which was really good. I won 3 gold medals in long jump, triple jump, and high jump.
Sport's always been in your life.
It's always been in my life. I loved it, and it was kind of a blessing and a curse as well. The reason for that is a blessing because it's great to find something that you're good at, and you learn a lot from that. But because I was naturally good at it, I never really had to work at it, or I never felt like I was working at it.
I've had a lot of people say that. Yeah.
So, because I love training, like I do now. Like I go to bed and I can't wait to train. You know, because I go to bed, I'm like, I'm excited about training the next day. And it was the same when I was a kid as well. So for a long time, I kind of felt like if I'm not good at it straight away, I'm not good at it. Do you know what I mean? So I never really put that effort in it. So it was a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. A lot of people have said that, and a lot of people say that that's the difference though from having that natural ability and then pushing past that, which obviously you've done, and we'll get back to a bit later on. But knowing you've got natural ability and then really pushing past that and pushing through that, the results that you get are even more phenomenal. Yeah. But what I'm so you started out in corporate finance.
Correct.
So you've gone to uni, corporate finance.
Yeah. Well, actually,
sales.
kind of sales.
Yeah.
Sales. I've been working in sales for probably 15, 20 years. Okay. It's a long time.
Yeah. That's a big pivot. So working in sales, then moving to Australia.
Yeah.
And then complete pivot.
Yeah.
Into health and fitness and lifestyle. What was the catalyst? Because it's for a lot of people who can't even mentally think about shifting from where they are in one spot to then doing it. Yeah. What was the catalyst behind that, and how have you found that journey?
Yeah, look, I mean, getting to where I was the last 4 or 5 years in corporate sales. Yeah. It was kind of, like I kind of touched on before with being good at something and not really trying. I was naturally quite good at sales. Yeah. So I just kind of got along on the bare minimum, and it just wasn't really fulfilling me much. Yeah. And then when I got into this last job as a finance broker in the last 4 or 5 years, I just kind of felt like I just split up with a girlfriend at the time. I didn't have much money in the bank. I just got back from traveling, came back to Melbourne. I just did a couple of months over in Europe backpacking. Yep. Came back and I was like, got no money in the bank. I felt like a bit of a loser. Yeah. Managed to get this job as a finance broker. And I was like, right, you're 30 now. Yeah. I really want to make some money. Yeah. Yeah. I need to make some money. I really want to get good at something. And there was a quote actually that really resonated with me. And I think that's one of your questions as well, but it ties in now. Yeah. Is if you don't know what you want to be good at, pick something and be good at it and get good at it. And it stems from like Miyamoto Musashi's quote, which is know the way broadly. Yeah. Which is, once you learn how to do something well, you can apply it to other things.
Like to every part of your life.
Yeah, and I was never passionate about finance. I'm horrible at maths. Yeah. Always have been.
Interesting choice then.
Yeah, but I was good at sales.
Yeah.
And and I was working with people that were far superior at maths than I was, but I would outsell them.
But it's funny though, because a lot of the people that are, that have that sort of mental mindset of, you look at an accountant, sometimes those guys aren't, they don't have a natural ability to be able to communicate with people because they're just numbers-driven people, so they're a little bit more insular. Yes. Sorry to all those people out there who are accountants, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, it is absolutely true.
And it's we've been it's a massive thing that we've been talking about lately is that that pivoting. Yeah. And the when you go from being passionate and having a purpose in one thing, and people think that they're just stuck with that for a lifetime. Yeah. And you can totally go from one to the next, but like you were saying, you take that with you from one to the next. Your purpose can absolutely change. Yes. Going in one direction to another, as long as you're taking all those things with you along the journey. Correct. It just they catapult into something magnificent. Yeah. So then how did you go from that to Ultimate Fitness? Because that's what you're doing. Yeah. Well, I got to a point in that, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do forever, but I never saw health and fitness, even though I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit in my 20s, a lot in my 20s. It was still always an interest to me. Yeah. I just didn't really look into how I could make that a career. And then as I started to get more successful with my broking and earn some more money, I realised that the money wasn't really helping me. So I got to a point in that where I wanted to get to, like I met all the goals that I wanted to get to, and it just wasn't fulfilling me anymore. So I started really reflecting inwards and thinking more about purpose, and I really wanted to pick something that I never want to retire from. Regardless of the money, it's like that old saying, do something that you would do for free and you'll never work a day in your life. So I just started turning inwards and then it just came to me and it was like, this is so obvious. How did I not realise this 15 years ago? But I had to go through that journey. You got to go through that journey.
I had to go through that journey.
That's the crazy thing that everyone thinks they need to have this now and they need to have it tomorrow. But there's so much, everyone's got so much of a backstory. Yeah. Everyone's got a journey that they've gone to. No one's just gone to the top of the mountain. No. And been dropped off there. No. And I think even if you have, you've still got to get down. I think sometimes coming down that mountain is a lot fucking harder than what it was getting up there. Yeah. So It's interesting, but it's also interesting about the money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will have that as the driver.
Yeah.
As that's my goal.
Yeah. And that's okay, because it's a tangible thing.
Totally. But I think you find a lot more fulfillment if you don't have that.
Correct.
As your driver.
Because that will come along with it, I think. Yeah. You know, and that was it. And when I started that job, I just really wanted to get good at it. And I knew by getting good at it, the money would come. So it wasn't really a driver. I just wanted to be successful at it and learn what it was to be successful.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because that's, I think, there's a big part that is missing for a lot of people as well. And when you were saying that, you just said, I knew the money would come.
Yeah.
So it's almost innate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you know that, or you know, I talk a lot about the quantum field and you know, a lot of work that I do with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks a lot about that, just knowing and saying, well, I know this is going to happen. You make it a fact for your mind. You know that if you do this, and this, you follow your passions, you follow your heart, and then you just do it to the best of your ability.
Yes.
All the other things that need to come will come.
Will come, yeah.
So how long have you been on the fitness journey now?
So,
because it's your journey is an intense journey.
Yeah.
It's not like for the light-hearted training.
No. So look, I mean, I got to my late 20s, early 30s, and I just felt like crap. You know, like I was saying, I was always naturally athletic, but I never researched into it. I never looked how to train properly. You know, I did the structured training when I was a teen and whatever, and I'd intermittently go to the gym in my 20s, but I'd fall off pretty quickly. I was a bit of a party boy, you know. Yeah. So it just got to one day where I saw a picture of myself. I looked rubbish. Yeah. I wasn't used to seeing myself like that, and I felt rubbish. So I was like, that's it. So I was, you know, buying men's health magazines all the time. Yeah. I set up a home gym because I was a little bit embarrassed to go into the gym and train by myself at one stage. Yeah.
Couldn't have been that out of shape, surely.
No, it wasn't that. I just didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, I just didn't know what I was doing. So I got some weights, some light weights at home, just started training at home, learning as much as I can. And that kind of just reignited that flame. Yeah. And I started to get back. I remember getting out the shower and seeing abs for the first time in years. And I was like, because it's a slow process. And that's what people don't realise. Like, the most important thing is consistency. Yeah. You know, consistency, because you're not going to notice things overnight, but then when you start to notice things, it starts to happen quickly. Yeah. That muscle memory starts to kick in. Yeah. So I just, and then got more and more into it, and then decided that was the way that I wanted to go. So I started training with a PT for the first time. Yeah. Which has been amazing. I think it doesn't matter how much knowledge I have, I'll always train with a coach. I think that's really important because it keeps you accountable, and just you can always learn something from someone else.
Totally.
You know,
I think that's a really that's one thing that I always used to notice when I was training in the gym or whatever. That I always used to pick someone. I would look at them, go through their bio, and pick someone that's been there and done it. And I could never understand the sense of training with someone if you want to put on size. You're training someone that's super skinny and got no muscle. Like, well, I don't want to be like that. I want to be like that massive guy over there that's hauling 100 kilo weights, this and that. So I think the benefits of that, because you learn so much. You absorb it. But how do you keep training is one of those things where people start and stop and start and stop. And I'm sure that most people who've got memberships out there probably haven't been to the gym for ages. And gyms rely on that sort of an income with people not in training. How do you keep so motivated to do it consistently? I know that you love it, but for people who struggle to love it, because a lot of people mentally will like, fuck, I'm going to go to the gym. So there's a really negative connotation sometimes with going to the gym. How do you get people to shift that if you're training people?
It's knowing that you are going to have, it's thinking ahead. Having a goal is really important. One of the things that we learn when you're training to be a PT is goals are so important. Keeping yourself accountable somehow. So, you want to get to this way by this time, or working with a coach, I think is really, really important. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's like when you buy a supplement, right? If you buy a cheap supplement, You know, it's going to cost you less, but it's not going to do anything for you. If you buy an expensive supplement, you know, it's more expensive, but you're going to get the results. So in that way, you're getting more value from it than the cheaper supplement, because you're not getting anything from that. So, you know, sometimes you've got to put your money where your mouth is, and, you know, have that account. And that's, you know, money is important to people, and it's an important guide for people. So I think if you're spending that money and you've got someone else
trading the money, you've worked hard to get that money.
Correct.
Not just throw it down the drain.
Yeah.
Pay for it and keep it up, because otherwise you're going to do it for 3 months, and then the results are going to dissipate pretty quick, aren't they?
That's right.
That's super important.
Yeah, and it's that first hump, I think. Once you get past that first hump and you start to see the results and you get that encouragement, you know, knowing in your head, first of all, it's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take a bit of consistency. And then once you start to see it yourself, you start to enjoy it and get comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that's one of the things you learn. When you learn how to be successful at something, like we were talking about before, you learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable and expect it.
I think it's such an important part of...
The obstacle is the way.
It's an important part of life too, isn't it?
Correct.
And it's fascinating, because I know that I've done a lot of research on Laird Hamilton. And he says the same thing. And he's like, you know, embrace the pain. And it's almost like you have to get to that mental mindset of, this is going to hurt, but I want to enjoy this pain. Because the reward that your body is getting from it is phenomenal. And there's no rush to... you know, to need to see, like you were saying, the results aren't going to come straight away. I'm one of those people. I go to the gym and I'll start doing some weights and come home and start flexing in the mirror. Oh, look at me! I've got the gains straight away. And I'm sure that heaps of people do that. But, you know, getting it consistent, and you know, what is consistent? Like, can you do it 20 minutes a day? And I know that one of the guys at the gym I used to train, I said, man, if you can't make it today, you can't do an hour and a half, or whatever it is that you do. Come in for 20 minutes. And is that the sort of thing that people could be mindful of, to just, even if you can't, just do 20 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is?
Do what you can. Look, obviously for me now, that's been my focus and it's my job. So it's easy, but I always made a point of it. You know, when I was working in corporate, after work or at lunchtime, I'd always go to the gym. And sometimes I really didn't feel like it, you know. But then you'll be surprised, as soon as you get in there and you do 5 minutes and you get that movement, you just want more, because energy breeds energy.
Your blood starts flowing, your endorphins are kicking in. You're like, I'm stuck with that.
Every single time, I can guarantee it. If you don't feel like going in and moving and going to the gym that day, go in, do some movement. Within 5 minutes, you'll feel amazing. And
What's interesting, because I know that Joe Rogan says that on a Sunday he plans his week out. And as he's planning his week out, he looks and says, okay, well, I've got 2 yoga sessions, I've got a gym session every other day. But he looks at it and says, well, these are the things I owe. I owe them to my body. I owe them to myself with this life that I've got to give it. It's almost that kind of mindset you have to have, isn't it? I can't take this for granted. I owe this. And as you get older, like I'm 42 now, and my brother is 43, nearly 44 this year. We've talked about getting into our later 40s, 50s. If we're not in good shape by then, you know, you can always get into good shape, but we want to be going into these years.
It's harder. Your testosterone starts going down naturally. You do. You keep it, and like we were talking about before, it's use it or lose it. Basically, your body is so smart. If your body's not moving in a certain way, it's going to stop moving in that way.
It's just like I don't need to do that anymore.
So it's really important to surround yourself with people who know what they're doing, spending the money to do that. Sometimes, like I say, I don't care how experienced I get, I'm always going to work with a coach. Working with the fifth element in Fitzroy has been amazing. Doing the strongman training. And I went for a big period of doing the strongman, which was awesome. Push yourself to the limit. Hugely.
That's what I love about it. You find new limits all the time. Like you think this is a limit, and then you push past it, and then there's another limit that you've set, and another one. And the body is such an amazing thing that you can never stop learning.
No.
Like we probably know 10/5 of fuck all about our bodies in comparison to what we actually can learn, because there's so much of it that's
amazing.
Incredible.
And I've gone from strongman training to doing gymnastics now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I just landed my first double muscle up yesterday. It was a rubbish one, but I got up there, and I've been training that for 2 weeks. So that's a massive juxtaposition from doing your strongman to gymnastics. But gymnastics, I think, is even more challenging.
When you look at every gymnast, they've got incredible bodies.
Oh, unbelievable!
It's a lot of, and
the strength is.
That's most of the body weighted stuff too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all body weight. So I'm doing a lot of ring work. So my training is.
The rings are amazing.
Yeah, so good. So I posted it on my Instagram yesterday. I was
Coach Chris Browning.
Coach _Chris Browning. Yeah. So I did. I managed my first double muscle up, and I honestly, when I started training 2 weeks ago, I was like, I started doubting myself, even though I've been training a lot and I know I've got a good strength base. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Honestly, I was like, I really don't think I'm going to be able to do it, and I've still got a long way to go. I've got to clean it up and everything. But now, seeing that like we were talking about before, I've seen that progression. Now I just want to get back in and do it again. Just want to do it as much as possible. And I think everyone's basically the same. A switch will go off. You'll see that progress. You'll get excited about it, and that's
another gear. You find another gear. You find more excitement. You find more joy from it.
Yeah.
What about diet? And I know that we're talking a bit before about gut health, but everyone obviously says diet is huge. But what are the things that people should look out for? Right now, I know you're saying gluten is a massive one. Yeah.
So I think most people have got permeability issues. So this has been a massive journey for me over the last 8-9 months, where I went to Dave O'Brien, who's a functional health guy. So he's traditionally a strength and conditioning coach, but he calls himself a generalist, and it's a really good way to do it. And I think that's what we need. We need more people that know about most things. But he specialises in gut health. So I got all my bloods done, got some stool testing done, and I just did it out of interest. I didn't feel like I was symptomatic in any way. And it turned out I have really low gut permeability, which is like leaky gut.
Right.
Yeah, and that would have come from my 20s. Too much drinking, too much smoking, and eating the wrong things. So I think most people have it. Like with everything in your body, it's just going to generally wear away anyway. But there's so many links now between gut health and autoimmune disease, neurodegenerative disease, because it crosses the brain-blood barrier. They found out a few years ago that they never thought it did before.
Is it what would give people a bit of brain fog as well?
Yeah, brain fog is a massive one. And I didn't feel that bad, to be honest. But because I'm interested in that type of stuff, I thought, well, I'll go check it out. So it turns out, I've got really low permeability, plus I had some parasites in there, way more negative gram bacteria. So we're supposed to have a bit of bad bacteria, but it's supposed to be about 80-90% good, 10-20 bad. And nowadays, it's mostly the other way around. It's flipped.
Do you think, so I was talking to someone about that a while ago. Do you think that, my kind of crazy theory on it is that, especially our generation, we've gone through that generation, it's probably and people are a bit older than us, and definitely the generation that's coming through. The 60s and 70s saw a massive change where there was huge supermarket change. And processed foods became huge.
Low fat.
Totally. And then we all, everyone went from probably not so much in Europe, but, the Western society, we went from going to school and that we were eating processed breads. Twisties and muesli bars and all this sort of shit, that everything's pre-packaged, and because it's easier, it's convenient, you can just go into a shopping centre as a mum or a dad or whatever, and pick all the groceries out for the kids for the school for the week. Everything's pre-packaged, everything's done. But I think having that process, there's so many chemicals, so much bullshit in there. My thought and my belief is that we're seeing the results of that now. As you've gotten older, then, because how many people now do you know that have got gut issues?
Everyone.
It was at a point where I was like, shit, like nearly every third person has a gut issue. And then I was like, every second person's got a gut issue, and you're right.
I didn't even think I did, and I did. And he said if you carry on the way you're going, the way you're trending, you will have an autoimmune disease. And this is someone who seemingly ate healthy for the last at least 6 years, And
this is the thing about, we just think that our bodies are indestructible.
We do.
And we don't give enough. I don't think we give enough support to our bodies, because everyone goes out and everyone gets on the piss and gets super wasted, and your body can recover from that.
Yeah.
You can totally do all those things and enjoy that, but there's got to be some care taken with your body if you're doing that. Yeah. Because at some point, the results are going to be, and you see how many people now have got autoimmune. Yeah. I can rate like three people that I'm closest to: my wife, my daughter, and my mum. Yeah. So my daughter has got Crohn's, my mum has got colitis, and my wife's gluten-free. I can't remember the name of it. Whatever it is. Celiac, that's the one, So she's so three people that I know.
Is that brain fog?
Yeah, that's brain fog, exactly. It's the coffee that's doing it for sure. And I've got gut issues, so I'm seeing a naturopath at the moment, which we were talking about before. Yeah. But everyone else you speak to has got some kind of issue with their stomach. Yeah. And even if they don't think they have, they probably have, like me. Totally. You know, I just thought because I was eating healthy and everything, I would be okay. But going to Dave was just a massive eye opener. You realise, because I had a decent knowledge, but you realise there's levels to this stuff, you know. So that's been a massive journey for me. So, you know, even things like I can't have broccoli. I can't have onion. It tells you all the food you should be eating and shouldn't. Correct. So FOS is that for the ecosystem in you? I want to talk about because I know that we talked about that last year. Yeah. And I was fascinated by it. Yeah. Because you completely rebuilt. So for people that don't know, your stomach and body has its own ecosystem. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So walk us through that. Yeah. And then rebuilding it. So talk to us a little bit about your body's ecosystem so people can kind of understand what it is, and then how the easiest way to understand it is think of your microbiome, your stomach, as like a tropical jungle. Yeah. So ideally what you want is full of trees, bushy forest with monkeys swinging in the trees. So it's totally healthy, like part of the Amazon ecosystem. And then on the floor, you've got your other animals on the floor that roam on the floor. So your monkeys are like your good bacteria swinging in the trees. And then on the floor, those creepy crawlies and stuff are like your bad bacteria. And usually you've got heaps more monkeys swinging in the trees. Then you have the bad bacteria or the insects on the floor. But what happens is if you're not treating if you're not eating the right things, if you're too stressed, the tree stops to fall down. Yeah. So that means that the good bacteria can't survive because they don't have the habitat in the stomach, in the ecosystem to survive. So they start to die off. And what happens is the bad bacteria on the floor start to thrive. So that's probably the easiest way, the best analogy to look at it. And that's probably how most people are. Yeah, correct. And if you go to a normal doctor with gut issues, and nothing against doctors, they do the best what they can. But when you go to a doctor and you have like IBS and things like that, or SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, they'll put you on antibiotics. What antibiotics will do is like putting a nuclear bomb in your stomach. So that will kill everything. So it will kill the bad bacteria, so that's good. Yeah. But it will also kill the good bacteria, and it will get rid of whatever was left as the good habitat, the trees and everything in there. So then what happens is it will start to reoccur later. The bad bacteria thrives a lot easier. Yeah. So then when it starts to come back after a year or so, it will be even worse than it was before. So what we're doing at the moment, what we do through this gut protocol is initially we'll start to build up my permeability as well. So my stomach can start to house the good bacteria, and we'll start planting those trees again. So it takes a lot longer, but it's going to last a lot longer. Yeah. So we're planting the trees, and then we start to kill off. So you go through a microbial phase, which is the second phase, which is natural antibiotics. So things like grapefruit seed, and that starts to naturally kill off the negative gram-bacteria and some of the parasites as well. And then in the last phase is when we really start to repair everything and put back in because I haven't really been taking a lot of probiotics either over this phase, because we're just repairing everything now, because there's no point, because I was drinking kombucha every day. I was having kimchi, but my body couldn't house it. I didn't have the ecosystem for it to stick. So just go in and out.
So just go in and out. So now that, I've killed, and I can definitely tell it's working because I've been going through the die-off phase, because what happens is when you're going through that antimicrobial phase, you start to have kind of flu-like symptoms, headaches, sore throats. You just feel horrible. So I've had that a few times, and then you feel amazing.
Yeah.
So once that phase has gone through, you'll feel amazing because it's that those parasites are shedding, and then it'll come back about a week later, and then a couple of days later, but it's not quite as bad. So, so I've gone through that stage, and I've noticed my energy levels are massive. And like I say, I wasn't symptomatic. So for me then to have a massive boost in energy when I already thought I felt okay has been a huge thing.
But it's, that's a fascinating thing, and Mark and I have really started the journey, and only recently, the same kind of thing, I suppose. Before I've been into our health, and we're probably like what you were when you were saying you were 30. We're like, we're pretty healthy. We do this, we do that. But we've got a little bit of a gut and eat a little bit of shit here and there. And when you start to make some small changes and some small shifts, in like, holy shit, there's a whole other level of energy that you can have here, and then it gets you wondering how much more you can have and how much more you can progress and how much more limitless, I suppose, you can become because your body is this amazing machine.
Huge.
It's probably one of the best machines in the world.
Oh, without doubt, we've never been able to replicate it, and you can't. But you get used to it. You get used to it, don't you? It's like when I was a smoker. I'd smoke and I felt okay. Yeah. And then when I quit smoking and I felt so much better, I was like, oh wow, I feel amazing. But I don't. I just feel normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Because you got used to feeling that way, and people get used to feeling that way, and they see people around them, have a bit of a beer belly, and you just think it's normal. You think it's normal. I mean, especially in England, people will drink 3, 4, 5 pints a night, and it's normal. You know, and then they wonder why they've got no energy and they're just on the couch watching TV.
It gets me bugging too, though. Like certain people. I don't know if you got the answer for this or not, but there's people that I know that will just, and I don't know whether their bodies are just, climatized to it, but they can drink and drink and drink and drink and drink, and then the next day, bang, they're up at 5:30, like they haven't been drinking at all. Yeah. And then lunchtime, they go out for lunch and start again. Yeah.
But you're building up a debt. And you can get away with it. But you're building up a debt, and it will catch up with you. Like we said, your body's not inflammable, but it is an amazing machine, and it takes a lot of abuse to break it down. Yeah. But it will catch up with you. You are building up a debt.
Well, this is that's the thing, isn't it? Like if you think that you're indestructible, just go and hang around some people that are in their 60s and look at the difference of people who have really made that shift and looked after their body, and look at people that haven't. Yeah. And you can absolutely look and pretty much choose your path. Which way do you want to go? Yeah. And you can reset the whole clock and get rid of all the shit that that you're doing now. And it doesn't have to be a massive shift straight away. It's just can you just do it in small? Because that's a big process, right? To start that whole ecosystem again, that can be pretty daunting for people. Yeah, look, and honestly, it's not for the faint-hearted. Yeah. What I'm going through now, like I say, I'm 8 months into it. Like for me, the diet wasn't a huge thing because I'm very used to being strict about what I put in my body anyway. But yeah, look, I mean, I wouldn't go from nothing to that. Yeah. I would just start, gradually getting rid of the sugar, first of all. It's probably the most important thing. That's a massive thing. Like sugar is. How bad is sugar? Sugar is the worst thing for you. Like it just destroys all your cells. You're constantly getting those spikes. Your glucose levels are constantly going up or down, and then it gradually gets worse. And then that's diabetes. It gets too bad. Yeah. But yeah, sugar. Processed food, concentrate on whole foods as much as possible. Don't worry about your macros to start with. Yeah. Just try and keep it as natural as possible. What if you can't afford, because I know that organics and other people say it's difficult. Organics is expensive. Yeah. So the other day I had to go and I had to get some spinach and some this and some that. And I'm like, well, there's no organic stores open. So I had to go to Coles, I had to buy it there. Yeah. So for me, the difference, and I don't know if this is right and this makes a difference, I go to home and I just go under hot water and just kept the hot water pumping over it and just like rinsed basically everything that I got from Coles. Rinsed the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, it is because it's sprayed, then it goes into the roots and it goes into the plant.
Yeah.
You know.
Vinegar is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
If you soak it in vinegar for a few hours, white vinegar, that's supposed to help. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, again, that takes a bit of time and patience. And look, it depends where you're coming from, right? Because if you're coming from a place where you're eating processed food and sugar every day, then just buy normal vegetables and normal stuff. It's not going to make a difference. You know, like you're going to be way better off. No, you are going to be way better off going from that than you are on the processed food. And just start that slow process. Because you're not going to notice that there's no difference in taste with organic. You know, you're not going to notice the difference overnight. It's that same thing. You're just going to build up a debt because that pesticide on its own isn't going to do anything, but after years of continuous pesticides and non-organic food.
Still there anyway.
Yeah, and I don't eat organic all the time.
Yeah.
You know, majority of the time I'll eat organic, but sometimes, you know, we'll go to the normal supermarket and I'll just get food and I'll just wash it like you and I don't worry too much about it.
It's interesting because a lot of people will get hung, and I particularly have been one of those people like, oh no, I've got to eat it, it's got to be organic, it's got to be this, that's sprayed with this, that's sprayed with that. Way. But like you said, like it's you know, your body can repair and your body can, you know, you wash it, you soak it, you do whatever you've got to do. Yeah. And as long as you're not doing it all the time, and you're staying relatively healthy. Yeah.
It's like the 80-20 rule, right? Yeah. The 80-20 principle. Yeah. Probably prefer the 90-10. Yeah. But if the majority of the time you're doing the right things, and we all know what that is, you know, I think a little bit here and there is not going to hurt you too much, you know. But I think a reasonable amount, reasonable steps to start with. You know, if you're coming from a place where you've never exercised, just do 10,000 steps a day. Aim to do 10,000 steps a day in the sun, getting that vitamin D, taking your shoes off, getting in the grass, getting on the beach. Yeah. I mean, I defy anyone to tell me if you're feeling rubbish, if you're feeling anxious, if you go take your shoes off and go and walk in the beach or walk on the grass, if you don't feel better after that, you know, you're not human. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
You know?
I agree.
So it's just little steps, you know. I think the most important things is what you put in your body, movement and connection.
You know, and that's another thing that Mark and I are massive on at the moment is movement. If you stay stagnant, you're basically dying. Anything that doesn't move is dead.
What do they say? Sitting is the new smoking.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why I stand up desks and everything. Yeah. Sitting is the new standing.
Well, that's why, you know, we've started and with the boys.
Yeah.
At any meetings we're trying to have, we're doing walking meetings. We're doing meetings where, you know, Mark and I've started surfing again, which is something we've loved. So we're going out to the surf park in Tullamarine. We've had countless meetings out there. Sitting there yesterday, we had another meeting. So, you know, the boys came out there with us. We had a surf, and then we had a meeting straight after that. Yeah. And the person that we met up with was like, "What a spot! Like we're just sitting there. That almost looks like, you know, because you can't really see that it's concrete. It is concrete, but it looks like you're in sort of, you know, some sort of Caribbean setting. Yeah. These waves are rolling in. You're eating all this awesome food. Yeah. Be stimulated that way as well. Yeah. Stimulate 100%. Your environment because, like you said, stand up desk and sit down desk. That environment, you need to break free from that as well.
You do, and what we touched on before, energy breeds energy. Yeah. Like the energy you expend, you get it back. Yeah. You know, so it's really important. Yeah. Really important.
What about meditation? I'm fascinated because so I meditate every day. I love meditation. Yeah, it's not something I've done my whole life. Yeah. But you know, now that I do, prior to meditating, I used to be really angry. Yeah. An angry person. I was the person that if there's an argument happening or someone was front, I'd be like, all right, where is it? Show me the way, and I'll sort this out. You know, storming in with my horse and sword and ready to go to battle. Through the meditation, I've really found a really good spot. I found so much patience. I found calm. I found that I can sit in that space and you know, things will just come to where I need to decide on something. That's cool. But the rope meditation, I've seen you doing it a few times on Instagram, and I never knew. I thought you were skipping. I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked me that question. You're doing it wrong. You're supposed to be skipping.
Because you're kind of just waving the rope like this.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It's like a movement meditation. And for me, obviously, movement is a massive thing. I have been meditating for continuously really for the last 7 years through different modalities. You know, like at the moment I'm really enjoying doing a gratitude meditation before bed. So we'll just lie in bed and put a gratitude meditation on, and it's really simple. It's really cool, where I'll kind of drift off to that as well.
Can you share that with me?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll shoot it over. It's really simple.
Yeah, Josh can put it up on here. We can share it out with everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And I've done Kundalini as well. We've just done a little bit of Kundalini. We've been going to this space called the Fifth Direction. So I train at the Fifth Element, and then there's another space called the Fifth Direction where I do my ice baths.
Yes.
And they also do meditation as well.
Yes.
And the ice baths and breath work.
It's like a meditation.
It's like a meditation.
I do the breath work every morning. That's my meditation.
The Wim Hof?
Yeah, so I do the 30 breaths and then hold my breath for minute 30 to 2 minutes. Depends on the day. It actually depends on what I've eaten the night before. For sure.
Oh, really?
Has
Interesting.
different results.
Because retention is a big thing I'm looking at. Because for some reason my retention is not that great. I can usually get to about a minute 20. Which is really weird, because I've had everything tested. Like my peak flow is like off the charts. You know, I've got good endurance and stuff, but there must be something subconsciously. And I'm working on that at the moment with the Fifth Direction.
Okay.
But yeah, so the ice bath is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like I've been doing ice baths at home for the last year.
Yeah.
Because that was a massive hurdle for me to overcome. The cold, I hate the cold. I still hate the cold. No one likes it, but you don't, like 5-6 years ago, I went to a night with Wim Hof over in Port Melbourne, and they had the ice bath there, and I lasted less than 10 seconds. Seriously, like it was so embarrassing because there was so many people there, and I literally got in. We'd done, and like he was so inspiring, and he's such an amazing guy. And we'd done all the breath work and everything. It was like, all right, now it's time to get into the baths. And, you know, there was a lot of people there, and everyone did it, and I jumped out. In the 10 seconds, I can't do it. So ever since then, I was like,
gotta do it. Gotta master it.
Yeah. And now I can sit in there. I hate it still. I don't like it. It's such a massive mental hurdle for me that I had to overcome.
Is it almost like you're getting a part of your personality, and you're hooking into it, you're getting in the head like, shut up, we're doing this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I try not to think about it. If you ever see the videos of me getting in,
I jump in. Very calm.
Yeah, but I just jump in and then just focus on my breath as much as possible. And it just feels like, have you done one of the really cold ones?
Nah.
It feels like 1,000 knives going into your body.
I've heard that it's like just...
And it never gets any better. If anything, it gets worse.
Well, that's about the second session was horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. Because the first time you've got a bit of excitement and, you know, you've got your adrenaline going a little bit more. But the second one we went to do, it was really hard. Because the ones I do at home are probably about 6 degrees. Yeah. Because I just can't get it cold enough without spending like $100 on ice. Yeah. So about 6 degrees, which is usually what athletes use. Yeah. So they use from 5 to 15 degrees for about 15 minutes. Okay. And just getting in that was a big hurdle for me. Yeah. But then going to this one at Fifth Direction, which is between 0 and 0.5. That's
cold.
That's a leap.
So what are the benefits there? Besides the mental challenging, which I totally get, what are the benefits for your body?
So cognitively as well, helps you, cognitively helps with blood pressure. It's been shown to reduce blood pressure, so cardiovascular help, and then producing brown fat. So brown fat is like a healthy fat that we lose very quickly when we're a baby. So in Russia, I don't know if you've ever seen, but you can see videos of mothers putting their babies in the ice, and that's to preserve their brown fat.
Oh wow!
So it's a lot healthier than your normal fat.
Yeah. Is that why the Russians are so tough, you reckon?
I reckon it probably is. Yeah. And Asher, the guy from Fifth Direction, was saying that the average household now is about 21, 22 degrees, whereas 10, 20 years ago it used to be about 18 degrees. Yeah. So we're feeling the cold a lot more, and that's because of that brown fat.
Yeah. So there's a reduction in it.
Correct, because you know where the Wim Hof breath comes from.
No.
So it comes from the monks. So they call it fire breath.
Yes.
So they used to do it out in the Himalayas in the extreme cold.
Yeah.
And there's I'll share the documentary with you, but there's documentaries on YouTube where they go in and they test these guys. They're doing this fire breath out in the cold, in the snow, in wet robes, and they're heating up the robes. Like, it's phenomenal.
Because it depends on the level of what they get to, and they can actually dry. I think that's the ultimate challenge, isn't it, to be able to dry the robe that's been wet.
Yeah. So it came out of the practical nature of living out in the Himalayas, and goes back to how amazing the body is. You know?
Fuck, that thing is incredible. But let's go back to the rope.
Yeah, so the rope. So I got that from, there's a few people that do it, but I got it from a guy called Tim Sheaf, who runs Way of the Rope, who's an English guy. He won the UK's version of Ninja Warrior. Yeah. And I got it from him because I resonate with a lot of his philosophies as well. But yeah, so it's really good for spinal articulation. So going back to what we were speaking about before, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it, and we don't move our spine enough. So the way you move the rope starts to articulate your spine in ways that you're not used to. It's really good for your core, and it's good cardio as well. But it's the focus that I really like, you know, because you're focusing on the rope the whole time. So it's a really good way to get you into flow state. So I do the rope flow to get into some kind of flow state. And it works really well for me. I'm really, really resonating.
It's almost is it like a hypnotism in a way?
Yeah, it is kind of.
It does. It takes you into that state, and then just you're gone. Yeah,
that focus. So I don't know if you've seen much about. I think it's Becoming Superman. There's a book. I haven't read it, but I've seen interviews with him. It's on my reading list. And he talks about ways to hack into your flow state. So trying it, and it's different for everyone, obviously. But surfers get it a lot. I know you surf a bit now, because you've got to have that undivided attention. You know? So I find that, you know, it is an easy way for me to do it. With the rope.
I think that's really important, because a lot of people that... you know, I'm one of those people that want to get up to something. I'm like, you got to do it, everyone's going to do it, and become quite annoyed with it. And when I started meditating, I was, you know, going around to everyone, you got to meditate. And I was like, fuck off, I don't want to meditate. And a lot of people that I've spoken to said, I can't meditate. I'm not one of those people. Like, my mind's just always going too crazy. And having something, and I think for most people it's because they don't have something to focus on.
Correct.
Having something you can focus on, I think will absolutely open that door. And I would wonder if there's something else, if there's something small that you could start with besides a rope or something like that.
I mean, skipping is a way to do it. You know, but I think the problem is we're so used to now our attention being drawn in so many different ways. You know,
well, because everyone's on the phone.
Everyone's on your phone.
On the computer.
Things are bleeping. Well, I mean, one of the most challenging things, you know, when I was broking, was that, you know, I was on the phone, then I was call waiting while I was on the phone, then I was having emails come through, then I was having instant messages, my own phone, people around you in the office, and it's this low-level stimulus, and it creates this low-level anxiety through the day, and things like meditation, where you're just simplifying things as much as possible, you know, concentrating on the breath.
Just remove yourself from everything.
Music, like there's a really good track that I've been listening to for years, by Marconi Union, called Weightless, and apparently scientifically it's the most relaxing track made, or it was a few years ago when I read about it. I've probably been listening to it for about 5-6 years. So I one of the best meditations that I do, particularly because I work a lot in my parasympathetic nervous system, like most people do. My sympathetic nervous system, to try and get myself back into that parasympathetic, is that 5-second in and out breathing. Is that like box breathing almost? Kind of like box breathing, but without the hold on either side. But box breathing is pretty much
so you're just going
in for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds.
So not the hold of 5, because the box breathing is in 5, hold 5, out 5, hold 5.
So box breathing is the same kind of premise. So either or is fine. But with that in on my headphones, I find that really, really good. It's particularly after the gym. because you can't work in one system the whole time.
Yeah.
You've got to have balance. You've got to have that yin and that yang.
Yeah, totally. And it's setting the environment. Like I used to find that I used to be in a really good meditative state after yoga.
Yeah.
It would just, an hour of just moving and flowing, and just because I think being in something where your mind is so, like you said, it's and that's probably the key, is having that focus directly on one thing.
Yeah.
If you're in the gym, you're just focusing on that.
Yeah.
But making sure you're focusing on it, because plenty of guys at the gym or girls at the gym or whatever that you see, they'll be training, and then in between sets they're going through the phone or this and that.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found really amazing about yoga, is there's no phones, there's no this and that.
No.
You're just focused, and when you're getting into some position, you're like, oh my God, this is an intense position. So you're just focusing on what your body is doing.
Yeah.
And as soon as you stop,
yeah,
and you start breathing again, and you just fall so quick into that meditative state.
Yeah.
A beautiful place to be.
Yeah, and it's similar, after training, because your body, because I think everybody carries tension and stress in their bodies.
Totally.
So, even if it's just shaking it out a little bit, I always feel so much better, so much more relaxed to get in that space of meditation. So when you're working out and you're working out that nervous tension through yoga or whatever, you're just in a way better space.
That's actually good. I really like that, because you're shaking off any bad energy.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of it and letting it move out, and then you can sit. Yeah. And you can be in that zone and just forget everything else.
It's amazing how much stress that we carry in our bodies.
Totally.
You've just got to let that roll out.
Spoken to heaps of people, and Gary, the guy that we spoke to, that Mark spoke to on a podcast last year, when he was treating himself and he had that really rare form of skin cancer.
Yeah.
He did a lot of treatment. He did the tapping treatment that does all the tapping instead, and he said he was holding on to stuff that he didn't even realise he was holding on to from when he was a kid.
Yeah.
We've all got issues.
100%.
And whether we dive into them or not, there's a lot of trauma that we hold on to.
100%. That was the word I was going to say.
Yeah, letting go is that's a huge part.
Yeah.
Have you done any of that? Any of looking back at certain things and seeing if there's anything you're holding on to?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that's come through my work with plant medicines.
Yeah.
But talking about trauma, yes, 100%. We all have had it, because being born is a trauma.
Yeah.
Even being born, and a lot of people who do past life regressions, a lot of it comes from in the womb.
I did one, and a lot of the stuff that I was holding on to was stuff in the womb.
Yeah, 100%. It's a trauma.
I was like, get the fuck out of here. What do you mean?
Yeah. We're all cuddled up, nice and cozy in the womb, and then all of a sudden this hand comes in and pulls it out.
Yeah.
It's traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, or feeling the stress of being carried. If your mum who's carrying you at the time has got the stress from this or stress from that, it's released into you.
Yeah.
And you're almost taking on some of that stress and trauma before you're even born.
Correct.
And not knowing it and releasing that is it's incredible, right?
Yeah. And we do. We carry around these traumas that we're not even aware of. And a lot of that for me has come through work with plant medicine. So I've been working with plant medicine since 2016, so probably about 5 years now. Okay. And it was massive for me to take that it allows you to take that objective look at yourself. It's impossible for me to explain exactly what it's like, because
so plant medicine, you're saying ayahuasca?
Yeah, things like ayahuasca that I've done in places where it's legal and everything else, but I've worked, probably trained 20 to 30 times, something like that. But it has been a massive catalyst for me. It's not the answer. People think that they can go do one session, or they treat it like an Instagram moment, something to tell their friends about. But it's and it's definitely not a panacea, but it's an amazing tool.
It's a doorway.
It's a massive doorway, and just a doorway into something that I don't have the words for. And I've heard people who are far more eloquent and far more intelligent than me try and explain it, but it's such a personal thing as well. Even for people that have done it, you just can't grasp it until you do. But it's not a one-stop thing.
It's a
You
continual.
have to keep working.
And it's like with anything, like you were saying, the gym, like you're saying with the food, it's a gradual process that you can just go through over and over and over again.
Correct.
And each time you find something so different.
Yeah.
And I guess it's how you face that as well.
Yeah.
And how you deal with it.
Correct.
Another one of my naturopaths that I used to see, he used to do ayahuasca ceremonies quite often. And he'd say he would know when he is in for a really bad experience on it. Yeah. Because he's got a lot of shit going on in his life that he hasn't dealt with. Yeah. So he said he almost used to go there for a really good ass kicking. Yeah. It is. It's not fun. It's work. Like, it is work. Because you've got to work through those things and those challenges in your life. Yeah. That that a lot of people will avoid and say, I don't want to deal with this. And they just shelve it somewhere, put it back here, or put it here, or whatever. Yeah. But when you're not releasing those things are manifesting into something else. Yeah, and they're building you up, and it's just going to get worse and worse. Yeah, and then also, with the cactus as well, with the peyote has been massively important for me, because both of those together are just amazing healing tools. Similar to I don't know if you've seen that documentary Heal. Yeah, a long time ago, but I know which one you're talking about. Similar to that, where they Joe Dispenza's on that one. Yes, he is, yeah. So they're following all those people, and a lot of people that had all these problems, cancer and skin disorders, and they're holding on to something from their past. Yeah. That's that they diet, and there's one lady I thought she was, juicing and eating organic foods all the time, but she still developed stage 4 cancer. Yeah. But she was so much deeper inside that she had issues that she hadn't dealt with from the past. Yeah. And it's amazing how much that can affect your well-being, your body, your life, your mental stability. Yeah. It's I think they're super important things to work through. Yeah, massive. It's not for everyone, and definitely don't go into it just to experience it, just to have that Instagram moment. Yeah, because if you think. Yeah, you'll be in for an arse kicking that you can never even realise. Or you won't get anything. Yeah. Because it's very interesting the way that it works. Yeah. Because you've got to kind of... You must be ready for it, right? You've got to be ready for it, and the medicine knows if you're not ready for it, and it will give you what you're supposed to have. And sometimes that's really light and really mild, but then other times your whole world is just turned upside down. Yeah. But that's been a massive catalyst for me, to get that introspection, to release some, traumas, and really, really kickstart into thinking about purpose. And, everything else, because we're all here for a purpose, Totally. And that's what we were saying. It's I think your purpose. Well, I definitely know your purpose can shift, and people get a little bit confused with having one purpose. Yeah. In a lifetime, our lifetime is so massive. We're so fortunate that we've got that we've already had as much time as what we've got. Yeah. And hopefully we've got another 40, 50 years ahead of us, maybe more. Yeah. But your purpose can totally shift and take those learnings from each section. So what would be, I suppose, to summarise and finalise everything, what would be one thing that, for me, I'm massive about sharing. What's one thing that you really, with your purpose at the moment in life, what's one thing that you want to share with people and show people that they can have in liff? Yeah, look, I think it all starts from what you put in your body. That's so important, because food and everything is energy. Yeah. So are we putting good energy into our body, or are we putting bad energy? You can look at that in a scientific way, or you can look at that in a woo-woo way. It works on both levels. But scientific way has proven that theory too, hasn't it? Exactly, so there's a lot of parts of the woo-woo that's been proven. Exactly. So it's energy that you're putting into your body. So think about it like that. Yeah. When we're eating that animal, we're putting that animal's energy into our body. Yeah. If we're putting sugar into our body and crap food into our body, we're putting that kind of energy into our body. So make sure that the animals are coming from a good place. You don't want to. You are what you eat. You are what you eat eats. Yeah. So that's why it's really important to have, eating good quality, well-fed Understanding where it comes from.
Yeah, understanding where it comes from and having that connection with your food as well as much as possible. Yeah. And there's not one thing to change everything as well. Yeah. It works on so many levels. So you've got what you put into your body, you've got how you move your body, and how you connect with people. Yeah. There's a really good book that I read recently by Johan Hari, and he talks about how connection. Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
It's such a great book. You have to read it.
Is he the American healer guy?
No, Johan Hari is an English guy. He's an English journalist, and he talks about SSRIs and how they pale in comparison to connection and community. Yeah. When people have that connection and community, particularly people that have been diagnosed with depression, it's when they start to really progress and start to get better. Connection is so important. And we know that more importantly now than ever.
We're seeing the results that came out of last year with the pandemic. It was, huge. And I think, we spoke about it earlier about, how I was tired, everyone around, pretty much the globe was tired because energetically the whole planet was in such a bad state. Yeah. It was in a state of depression, a state of anxiety, a state of, not knowing. Yeah. So you could feel that energy throughout the whole world.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's incredible for, to really understand and sit in that space. Yeah. That's why we all felt so horrible in the last year because the whole world felt it. Yeah. It was almost unified.
Yeah. Massive. And you see that from, sports and things like that. Like when that collective energy is around people, that's when people can really push their limits.
Absolutely.
Because you feed off that collective energy.
Someone cheering you on.
And we
feel that energy.
Yeah. And we haven't had that echo chamber. I think that's why a lot of people have struggled with it because even, it's not the same on Skype. It's not the same, because you can't feed off people's emotions like you can in real life. We're meant to be together. We're tribal people. We're meant to be in a community. And I think that's probably the most overriding thing. And it's like with exercise, we touched on it earlier with what can keep you going. Having people around you who, when you feel part of a team and part of a community, will push you to that level. And that's why I'm really excited about F45. Yeah. Starting with F45 because it's such a good community. Yeah. It's such a good community feel and people are supportive and everyone's just trying to compete with themselves. Yeah.
Well, F45 is, because we've done a bit of F45, the F45 in common. Yeah. And it is. You're there because you want to be there. F45 is one of those things. Yeah. If you're not interested or you're going to go halfway, there's not that sort of people there. It's just you are going all out for it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm really excited about. Building a really strong community, not just in the gym, but other things like I want to give people the opportunity to try out the ice bath that may not know what that's all about. Yeah. Meditation. I really want to try.
Incorporating a lot of different things.
Yeah. Walking into nature. Yeah. We did that walk in nature. How much better do you feel?
I feel amazing, especially with a group of people because you're all sharing the same experience.
Exactly.
That's that's a massive thing for me. Is that I've come to this realization. I love sharing experiences with people. Yeah. I love sharing emotions with people and seeing, the benefit that people get out of it. And that's part of my purpose is to share these things and see the joy that people can get out of all the things that I'm saying. This is amazing. So where do you think at the moment your purpose is?
Yeah, look, it's helping people move properly, I think. Helping people move properly. And obviously I've been through that period where I haven't looked after my body. Yeah. So I know what it's like to come from that. Yeah. To get to where I am now. And I've still got, I'm definitely still not the finished article, but I can definitely help come from that place where I understand where people might be coming from. I think when you start coaching, the best piece of advice I got was coach to people 10 years younger than yourself because you know where they've been, what headspace they're in. Yeah. And my style of coaching is not going to work for everyone and no one style of coaching will work for everyone, but there will be certain people that will resonate with more, that will resonate with me more, and they're the people. I'm not here to push anything on anyone.
Yeah.
But if people want my help, and that's why I'm sharing stuff on Instagram, you know, because some people will resonate with it, and you know, we'll be living in a way better world, won't we? It's like look after your own garden first, you know.
Yeah.
And once you look, you know, I'm looking after my own garden, and if that inspires people to do the same thing, you know, then that's my purpose.
I think that's amazing because you're allowing people to play in that energy. You're allowing people to see and feel that energy without having to give your own energy away. I think that's a really important thing that we don't do is don't give your energy away.
Yeah.
Keep your energy for yourself.
Yeah.
And allow people to absorb and be around it.
Yeah.
It inspires them to go, shit, I can do this as well. I can have this amazing result. And that's, you know, Mark and I've done that with so many people and people that we meet and people that we're drawn to, you know, like with us, and we just click straight away, like, oh, I've got this, da. So you can really get a feel and like, that's how I want my life to be.
Yeah.
That's how I want to be. You know, those are the things that I want to be feeling and have that, you know, unburning energy all the time and connect with people because, like you said, when you're on that level and then you've got that community, feels it's a whole other level again.
Yeah.
You think that you've got all this energy within yourself, but then you formulate a community of people that have got that energy. Yeah. It lifts up to another level.
Massively. And you know, 2-3 years ago, you look down my Instagram feed and I hadn't posted anything for a long time because, you know, you're too in what will people think, you know, you think you're always worrying about what other people think about you, but it's been amazing the response that I've had. Yeah. Oh, what you've been doing, those ice baths look really cool, tell me about that, and people are starting to do it, and you know, and getting that kind of feedback just wants to make you share more.
Absolutely.
And you know, and then they're going to spread it to someone else. Yeah. And we're just going to live in a better world. If everyone's healthy and everyone's more fulfilled, you know, it's better for everyone.
And sometimes even if that people aren't doing it and aren't being it and aren't taking it all on, sometimes by just them seeing it, it might change the day for a moment. Yeah. And if that's all it is, even that's amazing.
Yeah. It's better than it would have been without it. So that's just what I want to try and do. I just want to share what I enjoy doing, and you know, I'm not going there with the intention of trying to change everyone, but I know that it's going to resonate with some people. So that's all I want to do is do what I enjoy, and the rest will follow.
And Matt, well, thanks for coming in. It was an awesome session. I could have kept going for hours and hours.
I know, Was that an hour?
It's great.
Right? Was that an hour?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. You guys were talking before we got
I didn't even know you started.
Well over an hour. Yeah, well, we kind of missed it, but I've been recording the whole time.